Alright, thank you for checking out this video. In this one we're going to take a look at the MP5 setup, as close as we can kind of get to it, from Half-Life, from the Half-Life franchise. Me and my mates ran like a Half-Life loadout at a weekender event at the weekend, so I'll talk a bit about how that went. But the main focus is going to be on the primary weapon I used all of the second day. I did use the M4 the first day, but for the second day I ran a Half-Life setup on my VFC gas blowback MP5 version 2, and it was very cool. It was very fun. Before we get into all that though, check this out. If you like my content that I put out, if you feel like supporting, consider checking out the links in the description and the pinned comment. You'll be able to find a link you can follow to my merch store where you can buy some channel merchandise, or to my buy me a coffee page where you can just donate whatever you like to help support the channel. Otherwise, just like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Your support means a great deal to me. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the event itself. The event was the Invicta Battlefield Weekender, big weekender. Happens every year down near sort of Maidstone, Tunbridge area in Kent, and it's a weekend event, so you can arrive on the Friday, most people arrive on the Saturday morning, and then it goes until Sunday evening with like a barbecue and stuff on the Saturday night. It's a very cool event. Unfortunately, it was the site's last event at that site, like game site, so that area. It's called Hook Hill Farms, I believe, which is very sad. Unlike in previous years where me and my group of friends acknowledged the theme to the event, because it's always got a theme, whether it be like pirates or cowboys or gangsters. Usually we acknowledge it and we play along, but we don't, get involved. We don't get involved with like costumes and stuff. This year, as it was the last year, we decided to fully embrace the theme, which was sci-fi. Forfeiting buying stormtrooper outfits and crappy airsoft Star Wars guns that are crap and we'll only use once, or anything else sci-fi, Halo, aliens. We went for something that's still cool, still camo, but uses current weapons, and that is not Stargate but Half-Life Opposing Force. So we ran urban camo and green, sort of 90s looking stuff, and then majoritively ran MP5s. I decided to run the MP5 with the M203, more akin to the one seen in Black Mesa. Some of the other guys decided to run MP5 SDs, and that brings us on to what is the MP5 in Half-Life. The MP5 in Half-Life is kind of an MP5A3 with a grenade launcher on it, or an MP5 SD3 with a grenade launcher on it. Now, from the first person point of view, it's an MP5 SD3 with the M203 just seemingly stuck to the handguard of the SD, like the ribbed handguard that covers the shroud and the integral suppressor. When you are in the third, like when you're looking at someone in the game holding the MP5, it's more like an A3 with the classic slim handguard and the grenade launcher just kind of floating off the bottom, not really attached. And it's kind of similar to the MP5, which has sort of an Istech grenade launcher handguard attached to it. And the old Istech ones are actually made not far from me, and I think they're still made in Hartford somewhere. They are a grenade launcher that is inside a proprietary handguard that's all been made in a chassis that's specifically built to fit the MP5 and the pin. In the movie End of Days, Arnold Schwarzenegger uses one, and that, for the time period that Half-Life was set, would probably be the most likely way to attach an M203 to, or any kind of grenade launcher to, an MP5. However, Half-Life didn't sort of replicate that in their animation for whatever reason. So that kind of brings us back around to what should we do? What solution do I have to create it? And you know, I didn't want to pile a load of money into it. I also didn't want to make it super heavy, because adding a grenade launcher to anything makes it heavy. So I sort of had to dig around at what I already had and what I wanted to replicate. The MP5 A5 or A3 is far easier to mount stuff to, because these handguards are a little bit more universal in the sort of HK roller delayed universe of accessory parts, and so you can pop this off and quite easily obtain any other kind of handguard that has a rail system attached to it. Now I kind of wanted to go for the one that's in Black Mesa, just because it's a bit more realistic looking than the, you know, 90s animation that's in the original Half-Life and Opposing Force and Blue Shift. I needed a way to just directly mount a Picatinny 203 launcher to it. The closest thing I have is a Magpul handguard, and this isn't even a real one. This was made by a company called GG, not G&G, not GG&G, the real firearms parts manufacturer, no, just GG, some cheap Chinese one, and I've had to sort of Dremel and cut away bits out so that it actually fits, because I believe it's made for an AEG. And it's still not quite on straight, but it is good enough. So simply that goes in there. Even has a Magpul logo on it. And we're part of the way there. So that's there, that's got my Picatinny on it. Now I just need the launcher. The launcher's currently on this M4 and it is sick. It's proper cool, like nice and stubby like this. I really like it, especially with this heat shield. This is really cool. I'm gonna make more videos on this because this is such a wicked setup. This optic sucks. It's a knockoff Seymour and it never turns off. So the dial there, it goes down to 1, but it doesn't actually go off. There's no way of clicking it round to off. So it's always on, and for that reason it just chomps through batteries. It also loses 0 very, very easily on this gas rifle. So I might see if I can find a cheap real one or just a better clone. Bit of a sidetrack. Let's get the grenade launcher off this. Much easier to take off with this than it is to put on. But that's for another video. Even without it, it looks pretty cool. Made with a grip. I know it's really unorthodox and stupid, but hey ho. Right, and then this clips in. Now I could have really done with a longer rail and more support there, but this is literally just all I had. And as I said, I didn't want to pile a load of money into it. The point of doing Half-Life was that we kind of already all have MP5 variants, so it would, in theory, save us a bit of money. And there we go, shorty MP5 with a shorty. This is like an A&K LMT style launcher, and yeah, proper vibe. Now I did run it at the weekend with the 3-round burst lower on it, just because I think it goes better with the Magpul. So it's not very accurate to Black Mesa. Black Mesa, it's clearly some kind of tri-rail system, most likely a Knight's Armament rail, and the A3 lower, which I do have and I can put on for the purpose of this. And I love MP5s for this reason, as well as everything else. All of the cool movies and references and stuff. Just the modularity, being able to completely change the look of it just by pushing a button is really cool. That's the wrong pin. That's not quite aligned. Oh, that is the right pin. Idiot. Boom, look at that, beautiful. It is really cool. It does look super sick with the A3 lower. I do prefer it, but I really like having 3-round burst, especially when playing outdoors. It's kind of like, when I'm playing indoors I use this because I'm mostly using, well, I'm only using semis when I'm playing indoors. Outdoors, 3-round burst is a really good, slightly more efficient way of making sure you've hit someone. So there we go. Other than this being a Knight's Rail, this is a pretty accurate representation of what the MP5 in Half-Life, Black Mesa and that sort of series of games is. You know, it's pretty cool. I did want to add a little something to it to make it a little more practical, bring it into this era. Obviously, like, the ideal way of mounting a 203 to the MP5 now is the Garand Thumb Onward Research MP5 M203 purpose-built handguard rail system thing, but they're like 250 quid or $250 plus. By the time it ships to the UK, probably 250 quid. And as much as that would be awesome, I'm just not in the market for something that expensive. It is really sick, and it's just coincidence that I decided to do this and we decided to do the Half-Life thing around the time that Garand Thumb released his rail. But I did notice his MP5 M203 had an EOTech mounted to it, so I thought I'll mount mine. I was going to sell this, but I think it looks really cool on the MP5. And I was also pleasantly surprised that even though this is super old and doesn't go very bright, it's still really easy to pick up in the woods. It's still bright enough to pick up in the woods. If it was any sunnier, it was quite overcast, so it wasn't like super bright outside. So that did help. But I've always considered this to be like an indoors only optic just because of how old it is. But it was absolutely fine. So there we have it in its complete glory. My MP5 Half-Life edition. As far as the actual using the gun in game went, it was perfectly fine. I did notice it was suffering from inaccuracy, shall we say. It wasn't as accurate as the last time I remember using it, which was probably outdoors, at least, probably a while ago. I used it last month at CQB, and you know, that's different, you're very close to each other. But for longer range stuff, the accuracy did suffer. I was only using 2.8s instead of 3.2s, so that might have had something to do with it. But I also haven't cleaned the barrel of this in a very long time. Even though I mostly use ASG Ultra Air, like silicon-free gas. I was actually using duster gas in this at the time, and it's, you know, got silicon in it, just to keep the power down because it was very warm. And last year we had a lot of issues with our guns being too spicy on green gas because it was very warm, so I packed duster gas. I didn't use duster gas to chrono. It was under limits with the green gas, but I ended up, you know, refilling the mags with duster gas when we were out in the game zone, just because that's what I had on me in my rucksack. And so that may have led to, you know, gunkiness in the barrel and just a bit of inaccuracy. There was a CQB game in Invicta, in their area that's called Invicta, which is kind of like a little fortress in the woods. And that was very good. This was awesome for that. But for those longer range shots, I had more success with my Desert Eagle and my USP, my Marui USP, which I know isn't Half-Lifey. This was kind of my stand-in for the Glock, and, you know, HK gang with the MP5. The Tokyo Marui Desert Eagle outranges most sniper rifles and DMRs. So for long range shots, I did have both pistols on me at all times, because why not? Overkill. It's the last event that's ever happening there. I wanted to make the most of it. This does outshine, literally and figuratively, most sniper rifles and DMRs. So I had that for my long range shots, and this for, you know, my last ditch. and the MP5 for everything else. The other problem I had with the MP5 is one I've already documented quite well already, and that's just with my safety. Hang on, disconnected. My safety not being safe. So it's got a very Sig Sauer vibe to it right now, in that it is not safe, it doesn't go safe. So that's still annoying. I don't know what's wrong with that. When the price of the trigger butt packs comes down a bit, I might replace it, but for now it is what it is. I just wanted to touch as well on the gear we were wearing, because I actually found it to be quite good. So these urban camo pants, trousers, whatever you want to call them, BDUs, are from Combat UK. I think they were like 12 quid. And they're not, at least I don't think they're ripstop or anything. They're a cotton polyester mix. The Invicta was overgrown with brambles, thorns, vines, sharp stuff that, you know, wants to break all of your clothing. And these, we all got the same pair. These held up absolutely fantastically. I don't think my Tiger camo would have held up as well, and that was much more expensive. So yeah, that we were all really impressed with the quality of these trousers. Don't know what Combat UK have put in them, but they are still a bit muddy. They have been through the wash, but not on a very thorough hot wash. But yeah, no, these were fantastic. And then in my case, just quite a generic shirt that was just the right colour, and the colour match is pretty good between these and the pants, even though they're, you know, not the same brand at all. This is just like some outdoor clothing brand. Boots wise, I was just using my jungle boots, which are, you know, accurate enough to the game. Plate carrier wise, in the game they are quite slick plate carriers. They don't have any molly or anything on them. They don't have Velcro either, but this is as close as I could, you know, this is as close as I've already got. I didn't want to purchase anything else. Just a black plate carrier. And over the top of that, a green AliExpress rig. So it's my AliExpress or Temu, can't remember how much it cost. It was nothing, that I got a while ago that I made a video on. It's really good, and the more I use it, the more sort of roughed up it gets and the better it starts to look, because it did look quite plasticky, nylon-y. But now it's fine, and it's sort of old school enough to fit the vibe. In the game, they are running like LC2, a mix of LC2 Alice and you know, 58 pattern, or what is it, the Vietnam stuff, over the top of their rigs, and then different classes have slightly different setups. I did take my Helicon mini chest rig in Tiger camo, but I didn't bother using it just because the AliExpress rig, as I call it, was able to hold like a shit ton more mags. My Helicon rig is good for CQB, it only really holds 4 spare mags, but this one holds an absolute ton. I can fill the rest of the pockets with ammo, speed loaders, grenades. My belt rig was just a holster for the USP that I won on the Saturday in a pistol competition that I did with my Desert Eagle, and my Desert Eagle holster, and a little dump pouch. So there we have it, my Half-Life MP5 setup and all the stuff I took with me. Thanks for checking out this video. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you very much, you're the best. Check out the links in the description and the pinned comment to my merch store and my Buy Me a Coffee page. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thanks for checking out this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.